You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning and welcome into a Monday edition of Inside the Locker Room. Phone number is always 205-342-9904 if you want to get it on the show with us. Download the Tide 100.9 app. We got a lot of app messages last Friday, so feel free to send us an app message right there on the Tide 100.9 app. We had to know what kind of fish that was at McDonald's and that fish sandwich. We had plenty of people that let us know what kind of fish that was. So we appreciate your help there. We want to thank Yellowwood, pressure-treated pine from Great Southern. They make this 7 o'clock hour possible. If you're going to build a 5-star backyard, there's only one choice. It's Yellowwood. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer closest to you. And always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, then you certainly don't want it. If you want to send us an email, you can do that at wimpandbarry@yahoo.com. We got Chase behind the glass that will be taking your phone calls. And before Dad gets in, I want to say, as far as I did not think Ryan Williams will be able to get that many yards, this guy, Dad, has unbelievable footwork. You can't really tell it unless you really look at it. When he catches the ball, he's very difficult to get down because he's shifty with those feet. That's something that you really can't teach. And he was absolutely amazing with some of the catches and stuff that he made under pressure. And Jalen Milroe was incredible with his feet during that game and passed the ball very well too. So 2 stars of stars last night in that game. And I was down on the quad. I want to give a shout out to the game day operations at the University of Alabama. For that many people in town, everything was about as smooth as you could be with the quad and the people. I saw all the Secret Service around the stadium. So the guys did a terrific job of handling a lot that went on. So congratulations to those guys. Good morning, Dad. How are you this morning?
I'm doing okay. Before I get to the ball game, I want to mention the President's Cup was won for the 10th time in a row. A lot of play there, and Doug will be on in the second hour and talk about it. I won't try to talk about it, but just briefly, I want to talk about the game first. But I'll do it as the baseball game today with Braves and the Mets at 12:10, and the other one after that game is for the wild card, which is pretty important. So baseball today be 40 minutes after the first game, Braves and baseball and the Mets. So we'll see what happens there. Purdue fired the offensive coordinator because they played so poorly against Nebraska and didn't score but 10 points. Big win, I think a big win for Arizona when they went to Utah and won. Of course, a big loss for Kentucky getting beat by Ole Miss getting beat by Kentucky, pardon me. A big deal there. So as far as the blue plate is concerned, it was nobody's fault but mine. I did not know that they had a quarterback was out. If you're going to gamble, you have to know that. And obviously they didn't announce it till late. I was on another show, and I got a call saying, do you want to change your blue plate? They just announced that the quarterback was going to not play. I said, no, I don't want to change it. So I lost on that. And if you're a big gambler, which I'm not, and it was my fault, I should have looked to see. That line was crazy. So anyway, that's what happened.
It went from 13 when the quarterback went out and went all the way down to 8.
Well, the quarterback, they kept it secret from a lot of people. For some reason, they didn't go by the rule that Garth has at SEC, where you have to announce people are not going to play. Anyway, let me say this about two things about the football team and something good about both teams. Number one, Alabama came out, executed terrific. The offense terrific. The offensive coordinator did a great job of getting the football to the open people. Played just terrific. Played really hard. Had the great lead, and you got to give them credit for holding on. You also have to give credit to Georgia for not throwing in the towel, for hanging in there when they get their brains beat out, for being smart and playing as hard as they could when they were down. There are a lot of teams that would fold it and quit. Ryan Williams' pass was a humongous pass. Alabama's got a chance to get their fannies beat, and that he never would be able to explain that. So my hat goes out to the way Alabama played offensively and what they did when that game started and the scores they did, and my hat goes out to Georgia for coming back the way they did. You could have turned in your uniform about halfway through that game. So that's the way I feel about it. But Ryan Williams, as Barry mentioned, is a terrific player, and Alabama's gone to number one. But we'll see what happens week by week. Ole Miss drops out, first team that's really, really good to get that loss. Now, the Georgia situation is very, very tough because they do have to go to Texas, I believe. They entertain Auburn this next week. And they also have to play Tennessee. By Tennessee games, I think, at Georgia. So Georgia's got their backs against the wall. Okay.
Yeah, I think Georgia is probably one team though that could possibly lose 3 games and still make the playoff. I mean, if you lose to Alabama and Texas and then either like Tennessee with that schedule, I mean, you're going on the road to what is now the number 1 and number 2 team. I think they could probably, with the schedule, lose 3 and still make the playoff.
And let me say this to our fans: don't call in and say, Alabama just blew the game. Alabama quit. All this guy. Look, there are 2 good teams playing against each other. One good team played great. The other good team, it's not because Alabama quit. The other good team is Georgia, and they played great. They didn't play well enough to win, but both teams are great players. And I listen to the radio, and they say, "Well, they blew the lead." Bull crap, blew. They did blow. They got beat. I mean, for a while there, but blowing the lead is not the way to say that. That's all.
Yeah, I think sometimes I could tell as a coach when you're playing a team that good, you don't even feel like at halftime a 30-7 lead is enough because you know what Georgia can. They can strike quick on you,
side, but not
score.
Georgia.
Yes, but I'm saying and sometimes you don't know whether do we keep doing what we're doing or we try to run clock. So how you coach with the lead sometimes is because if you try to open it up and then you start turning the ball over, people will say, "What are you doing?" But I thought a humongous play in the game was at the end of the first half on that pass interference call that they did not call pass interference, and everybody around me was so happy to see the side of Kalen DeBoer going crazy on the sideline, and he showed you that he is a mild-mannered guy, but when he's got to get after you, he will, and it was a terrible call.
It was awful. That same official was on the sideline, worked the game, is not very good. And they had no absolute doubt that was pass interference.
Yeah, and so it cost them a chance to score down there, and then you end up getting a penalty because there's a lot of motion there. The 2 teams are jawing, and Alabama gets a 15-yard penalty on the kickoff to start the second half. People, when they put the cameras on Coach Saban, coaches are not going to cheer. All right, they're going to. It doesn't matter if Alabama's. That's just That's just not what they do. So he's sitting there, literally just watching the game, trying to analyze it because he knows he's going on at halftime, and he's going to have to talk about it. He's not going to be raising his hands, this, that, and the other. I don't even. He has a lot of respect for Kirby, and he knows that league could obviously go away.
He does have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah. So. But it was a great atmosphere. The fans were unbelievable. The whole game day experience was unbelievable down there. So shout out, because that's a lot, man. When you have that many people in town, there was a ton. We watched the game actually on the quad, and so there was a ton of people out there watching all that. But answer me this. How in the world did John Daly end up with President Trump coming into the state? It was Kid Rock and John Daly with President Trump.
They came in with him?
Yes.
I mean, on his limousine?
No. While they were walking in the stadium, they were in his box with him, and they walked in the stadium with him.
I don't want John Daly in my box.
So, Kid Rock, actually, they showed a deal there when they came in. I guess there were some vendors in there that were selling whatever. He handed them $500 and said, "Split that up among all you guys right there." So
who said that?
Kid Rock. Kid Rock was giving out a bunch of money there to vendors.
Just to their way. Of course, I'm
so anyway,
man, but I don't care for John.
I just don't understand the combination there of Kid Rock and I can get Kid Rock comes to a lot of Bama games, but John Daly coming to the Alabama walking in with President Trump, I thought was a little bit strange.
Turnbull ended up trying to be involved in both games. I don't think he came in with Trump.
Yeah, and then that last interception by Peyton Thorne, oh my gosh! When you're jinxed, sometimes it just goes bad, right? Sometimes
it's almost a no look pass on his back, and he lets it go. He sees the receiver, but he doesn't see anybody else, and it's a little bit of a no look pass. And when you don't look and see, but you gamble a little bit. And shooting the gap like that was a huge win.
Yeah, so here's Auburn is 2-3, probably looking at 2-5.
Well, they've got Georgia, Missouri, and Kentucky on the road. They do have I believe an off week after the Kentucky game. After the Georgia game. They'll play at 2:30 this coming week, and Alabama will play. I think it's 3:15. Alabama's going to be on the SEC network. Georgia's and Auburn going to be on the ABC ESPN Plus network. Yeah. So,
well, my guy Jason with North River Lawn Care, he's got a bet with me. If Ole Miss loses 3 games, he's got to do my yard for a year. I texted him, and I shouldn't have done that. I told him to get those blades sharpened after that Kentucky, because they got to go to South Carolina Saturday. Could the Gamecocks get them in Columbia?
Yeah, they could. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah,
but they could, and it's going to be big.
The early line on that game is 9. Ole Miss 9-point favorite.
I had to study the lines anymore. I got to find the blue plate, but that one last week.
All right, we'll get to break. We get back. We got Philip Holden. Phil was almost right. Alabama almost had to get to 49. They did get in the 40s, 41. 34. 2 Men in Truck out 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go pick up your boxes, your packing supplies, whatever you need to make this a smooth move. Whether it's local, out of town, out of state, no problem. Let the professionals handle it. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. Give them a call today, 205-247-5050. 2 Men in a Truck, movers who care.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. Tuscaloosa recently set a new record for homicides, and that has sparked a ceasefire, citywide revival in local churches. The first service will be tonight at 6 o'clock at Christ Baptist Church. That's located at 2610 Greensboro Avenue. The churches will be working with TPD to address the violence. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free throughout the day. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. You're wide open on these freeways and side streets, looking at 2059 for the time being. That's moving gloriously in both the east and westbound lanes between University and 359. And we're also looking good on Lurleen Wallace on the northbound lanes at the McFarland intersection. That's pretty wide open.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Birmingham. Plus, don't miss our grand opening celebration Friday, October the 11th through Sunday, October 13th. And check us out at academy.com with free shipping on purchases over $25.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today. Just a chance of a few isolated showers this afternoon or this evening. The high today 81, the low tonight 63. For tomorrow and Wednesday, warm and dry, sunny both days. Highs between 83 and 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Want to know what's going on with the Crimson Tide? Download the Tide 100.9 app today.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker. Yellowwood pressure treated pine from Great Southern. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want to. Get to the Yellowwood hotline and get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning.
Good morning, man. How you doing?
We're good, man. How are you?
I'm fine. That was something the other night. The game just had so many peaks and valleys. You know, as hot of a starter as Alabama got. You know, in the third quarter, they ended up punting 3 times in the third quarter. Georgia did a great job. I watched the game with a Georgia fan, and she was all down and out, and thought Alabama was going to win 55-0. And I told her, I said, this game is far from over. I said, all it takes is a touchdown to sort of claw your way back into it. It was not an insurmountable lead, especially when Alabama wasn't able to get to 35 after that missed interference call, like you just pointed out, Barry, which was a huge.
I'll tell you what else was a huge play. Huge play. When Alabama went for 2 and got it, it took the pressure off a little bit defensively. Because unless Georgia was going to score and go for 2, if it was a 6-point lead, man, then you're really defending nervous because they scored, they kicked the extra point. I wonder if Kirby would have gone for 2 if he scored there at the end.
Yes, I think he would have.
Really?
I do think he would have. I think he wanted to get out of there and get gone.
Yeah.
And Alabama was exhausted. I mean, when Georgia got the ball back after that miraculous catch and land and then run play, I mean, he did 3 things. He made a miraculous catch. He landed and was able to then split those 2 guys and then accelerate and stay in bounds.
He's got unbelievable footwork. Unbelievable footwork.
It was an amazing play. But anyway, you know, after that, Georgia had 2 minutes and 28 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
Or it may have been a little bit less than that, but it was 2:18. 2:18.
But you got timeouts and the 2-minute warning there, so you got plenty of time. Plenty of time. So my fear as an Alabama fan is I thought they were just going to try to methodically march down and just run it in from about the 2 with 4 seconds left, and that'd be it. And what a game. Dad, do you think if you were in that situation and you score in your Kirby, do you go for 2 there and just say we fought our way out, or do you kick it and get to overtime?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's an offensive coordinator, and I think it's the offensive coordinator. It's after Kirby's call. I don't know. I don't know what you do there. Y'all say you just don't go for it.
I don't know. I don't know if he would or not.
I have really no idea. I just think you have to give Georgia some credit, regardless of staying in there in the game and playing hard. They're very talented, and when coaches try to correct things at the halftime and make it a little bit better here, a little bit better there without going crazy, I think that's what he does. And so Alabama's terrific. The offensive coordinator does a really nice job with them, and they've got the people to do that. When you can call good offensive stuff and you've got people that can run what you call, you got a great combination. I don't know about the defense. The defense struggles some, but
I was a little surprised.
They do a little so much defense that it's a lot. They do a lot of different stuff defensively. I've talked about that some, and it was a little bit scary.
I was a little surprised how they came out defending Ryan Williams. Phillip, they were, first play, the guy was like 10 yards off of him, so he just ran about 8 yards and turned around and caught the ball. So they weren't up checking him at the line or anything like that. They gave so much cushion, so they just threw the underneath pass there to kind of get the kid going. I think it was the first play of the game, to be honest with you.
A little bit surprising, I guess, but Ryan deceptively he's very deceptive. You think you can out-physical him and push him around and knock him around and all that, but he's gifted at just getting that first step, and he can fake you out. I mean, he can fake people out.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably.
You better get the NIL money ready.
Well, you got that right, because old Snake Sarkisian out there, I guarantee you he'd like to get him.
Well, everybody'd like to get him. They'll take care of that kid, whatever he wants.
But the bad, just real quick, that 2-point conversion was huge, and it was a great catch.
Yes.
You have to remember, both of you have to remember, you're losing the quarterback that gets the ball to him that way.
I hadn't forgotten it. I know. I've been thinking about it.
All right, Ty Simpson can pass the ball, but he just doesn't have the feet. He doesn't have the feet. I think I saw where Kirby called Jalen Milroe a bigger version of the quarterback for Baltimore, and his name just fell right out of my head.
I'm going to find out.
What's his name?
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he's a bigger, stronger, faster Lamar Jackson.
I want to find out, Barry, who gets the credit, the real credit for evaluating and getting Jalen to Alabama. The coach.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know it. I don't either.
I'm sure he shot up the Heisman race with his game on Saturday. So good for him.
Getting him. You got to get him before you can. Coach him.
But when he gets on the edge, he's gone, Phillip. When he gets those feet, that's a nightmare for a defense coordinator trying to figure out. He's
Devontae Smith, David Palmer, Al Blue, Dennis Holman, Ray Perkins, all those guys rolled in the way. Something else.
Yeah. Thank you, Phillip.
Thank y'all.
All right, Dad, I want to ask you this. Today in the Braves and the Mets, if they split, they both make the playoffs. If one sweeps, the Diamondbacks make the playoffs. So if you win the first game, are you really going to throw anybody any good?
What did you say about the sweep?
If Atlanta sweeps, then Atlanta makes the playoffs and the Diamondbacks make the playoffs. If they split, then both the Mets and the Braves make the playoffs and the Diamondbacks don't. So my question is, whoever wins that first game, they don't really care about the second game because they already got it. They're already in the playoffs. But so I would guess integrity, would that make you still throw somebody pretty good and still play your main guys? Or what would you do if you win the first game today?
I think you would play the way you want to play if you won the first game. I think you go ahead with it.
So you play your starters? I
think so. And I don't know. I don't know what the schedule is on the playoff.
Well, I'm just saying, like if you, so you're kind of, I don't know what to do, man. If somebody let me know. If you're the manager and you win the first game, do you just say, you know what, we're going to rest our guys, and then the Mets are going to win, the Mets are going to make the playoffs, and Diamondbacks are sitting there with no control whatsoever?
You've got to look at your future schedule, don't you?
I mean, I don't think anybody that pitches today will probably pitch in the wild card. I don't know. I have to.
That's the question.
Is the wild card? Is that 2 out of 3? What is the wild card series? Because they're talking about So the Braves and the Mets are either going to play the Brewers or the Padres. The American League's set, but they haven't set the games until this thing ends tonight. But I'm just curious, if you're the manager and you win that first game, do you try to beat them again and get the Diamondbacks in? Or do you just say, man, we're going to rest everybody now and get ready for the playoffs because you're in? So it's kind of a strange scenario. But if you're the Diamondbacks, you have no control. I would think for the integrity of the league in Major League Baseball, you would play your starters in both games.
I think.
Yeah, because it just doesn't look good if you don't. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get Max Howell in when we get back from break. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. You're wide open on these freeways and side streets, looking at 2059 for the time being. That's moving gloriously in both the east and westbound lanes between University and 359. And we're also looking good on Lurleen Wallace on the northbound lanes at the McFarland intersection. That's pretty wide open for you right now.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Our coverage begins at noon on your home for Alabama football.
Presented in part by BMW of Tuscaloosa and by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Exciting than ever. It's time for the sports glory you deserve without breaking a sweat. The Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. Play the game. Must be 21.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Yellowwood pressure-treated pine from Great Southern. Want to build the 5-star backyard? You want to do it with Yellowwood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. He's a former assistant coach, Florida State, Ole Miss radio personality across the Southeast. Joins us every Monday, Max Howell. Good morning, Max. How are you?
Good morning. Hi, guys. Doing great. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead, Dad.
How's Tuscaloosa?
Tuscaloosa
was settled down yet?
It was flooded on Saturday. Wow, unbelievable. Go ahead, Dad.
I think we got a two-team credit there. The way Alabama played offensively and the way they were ready to play and all the kind of things that Milroe and company did is a real plus. And I think it's a real plus for Georgia to hang in there the way they did. I think they'll be adjusted things. It wasn't a deal where I get so tired of listening. Alabama blew the lead I hate that. They didn't blow the lead. It was two teams that were good, and one played better to begin, and one played pretty darn good at the end.
Agreed. Well, Kirby made the right adjustments. You know, I heard an interview with him before about changing the secondary coverage if Alabama got hot throwing the football. Well, they did, and he didn't change the coverage like most. He pulled the defensive lineman out and started rushing three. And he brought another linebacker in, guys. And he spied. That's why Alabama couldn't run the quarterback. That's why Melrose didn't have a good second half. He had a spy on him the whole second half. This first half they didn't. They tried to run just a 4-man front. And, of course, Alabama beat them, up down the field. So I give it to Kirby. That was a really good coaching move they made. And the kids played hard. It was back and forth. And they had some outstanding plays by young guys. I think that was probably as impressive as anything else. The Williams kid was absolutely a fantastic wide receiver. And that last interception by another freshman in the secondary sealed the ball game. So I think everybody that was there and everybody watched it across the country. I don't know what the TV audience, somebody said possibly as many as 60 million people watched that ball game. But it was one for the ages, I can tell you.
Yeah, I think Kirby said, earlier in the week about defending Milroe. He said sometimes some of the worst things you can do is guard all the receivers.
Right.
Because then he just takes off. And when he gets to the edge, Max, he is gone. He 16 rushes, 117 yards. The other running backs got 6 and 5 rushes there. Milroe is a problem for a defense coordinator. Your thoughts about him?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. On top of that, I heard Kirby say, I watched his press conference after the game, and he said the guy could probably be drafted as a wide receiver or a linebacker or a quarterback or a running back, whatever. He's that talented. You don't see many guys at 230 pounds can run like that. I think somebody said officially clocked it somewhere around 4.4 or 40. And, guys, that's burning speed. And we saw it. I think, and of course, you remember, too, guys, he's already got a degree. He's working on his master's now, so he's got brights upstairs on top of that. And they've got him coached up, I think. And I really can't say enough about the kid. But he takes advantage of everything that the defense will give him. And if he's not the Heisman leading candidate this morning, I don't know who the country is.
Kalen DeBoer, perfect fit for a replacement for Nick Saban. Pretty even keeled. He's laid back, but I think the Alabama fans saw a side of him they hadn't seen. They loved it on the missed pass. I don't know what the official's looking at. The guy tackles him before the ball gets there,
right?
And he showed his fire there as well. So Greg Byrne hit it out of the park when he went and got this guy. The players absolutely love him. When you watch, of course, it's easy to be happy in that locker room, but you can tell the respect that they have from it and their whole staff. So what an unbelievable transition from Nick Saban to this new coaching staff.
I think they did I think he's really a bright guy. And the reason, I'm sure he is academically too, but the fact is he brought his system in. Yeah. Because he rebuilt his system around the talent. How many coaches that's got a system and they're going to make the talent apply to that? But I think what he's done, he's mixed it up. And Kirby said they looked at every tape that DeBoer had before we got there, the places he'd been, just to try to get a feel for what they started back in the summer after he was hired. The fact is that they wanted to have a good feel of what kind of offense and defense he would bring to that. But I think he mixed it up, and I think that's what confused Kirby and them to start with. When DeBoer took what Alabama's talent level would do and it applied it to his system, and certainly it worked tremendously. And I think he's going to go. I think he'll go ahead that way. And look at every game plan and break down the team that he's playing, and he'll figure out his offense to match that defense and expose the defense more than anything else. But I think you're absolutely right. Personality-wise, and I think when it was on that call, on that missed call that the officials did. But see, guys that toward the end of the game, Kirby on the other side was doing the same thing.
Sure.
Because they missed one. Alabama stripped one down pretty. So it was pretty. When a game that highly intensive, the officials guys, you got to remember they got emotions too, and they get caught up in a lot of times in those ball games. And I know they missed some calls, but I didn't see them favoring either side. I saw them miss them on both sides.
Yeah.
So when it's all said and done, guys, it's who's got the points on the scoreboard when the game's over.
Yeah. Yep.
Go to Auburn for a minute. It was a no-look pass. I think it was a pass where the pressure was there, and it was really a little bit of a guess on the interception. They're not going to fire him. John's not going to fire him, but they've got a mess going with the 3 straight road games. Your comments on Auburn's situation?
I think Auburn came into this year, Coach, knowing they had to play physical, and they're doing that. I thought they were way more physical than Oklahoma was, but talent won that ball game at the end. Oklahoma just came in and just had more talent than Auburn did. I thought Auburn played extremely well at times. Of course, what happened at the end, they threw a pick. That was, that's been the problem with the offense all season long. I think they got the work cut out for them. I looked at the schedule too when the game was over, and they got a boogeroo now the next 2 or 3 weeks. And so, how the fans are going to respond. I mean, we know how fans are. They don't want to go in that stadium and see their team get beat every week. And Auburn's always been a hard place to go and play. But if you keep losing, the fan base will start drifting away. I mean, they aren't going to disown them, but they aren't going to show up for some of the ball games. And I think there's the problem where they're going to have to find out what is the problem inside. And I don't know where it's Coach Freeze, whether it's his system not fitting what the talent that he's got there, or he missed on 2 quarterbacks. I think he could have gotten the kid that went to Oklahoma. That went to Arkansas. He could have gotten it. The one that went to Miami, he could have gotten. And for whatever reason, he passed on those guys, thinking he had what he wanted for his offense. So everybody can make a mistake along the way, but Auburn's in a sensitive situation now, coming off of where they had been the last couple of years before Coach Freeze got there. So I think he's going to have his training, just some continuity of his team itself. And mainly having to go on the road and play the teams he's got to play.
Ole Miss, Kentucky must be better than people think. I think that South Carolina game was maybe just one of those days. But they gave Georgia obviously all that they wanted. Their defense is really good. They went in and knock off Ole Miss. Ole Miss with that very weak non-conference schedule, they can't really afford anybody. I think Georgia could maybe, if Georgia loses to Texas and Alabama, they're not going to keep them out of the Final 12 with losing to the number 1 and number 2 team. But Ole Miss may have some issues there. They go to South Carolina, who's really good defensively. Ole Miss 9-point favorite there. The game is at 2:30. I wish it was at night because I need Ole Miss to lose for another reason. But just your thoughts about what happened to the Rebels and what will happen this weekend.
Well, I had them possibly 10-2 or 11-1 when they started. After that game said, I got them dropped to 8-4.
Ooh.
But what that does, guys, if that be the case, Kiffin's number 1 on Florida's list now. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're going to do whatever they can. A losing season will not matter about him making a transition or moving. But let's just talk about this year. They're a team that throws the ball as well as they have at practice every day. I'm going to tell you, I've been on staffs. That team is not physically tough on side because defense doesn't get a chance to see a strong running game at practice every day. And I've always declared most passing teams are a finesse team as opposed to what Kentucky did. Kentucky just lined up and hit them in the mouth every snap. And I think that was the difference in the ball game because they had a very weak non-conference schedule to begin with. They come in there, sailing and throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game, and that's Lane's offensive mindset, and he's going to do that wherever he goes. But that's another one that they got some pretty well. Georgia toward the end is on campus, but they got 2 or 3 road games that they got to play. I don't know whether they can win or not.
They got a bad break on the schedule.
They did, but I'll say this, guys. I think 8-4 now is probably legitimate.
Really? I think they got a good schedule. You can't lose to Kentucky at home and think you're on the playoff. They got South Carolina, they're at LSU. They got Oklahoma at home, at Arkansas, Georgia at home, at Florida, Mississippi State at home. So,
but they lost to Kentucky. Lost to Kentucky.
Well, that's on them. Yeah, that's on them.
I'm just telling you, they're going to lose a couple more. I can almost guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But and that's just, I'll jump ahead a little bit. If in fact that Florida thing comes about, that's in his favor if he's going to make a move. And I'll tell you why, because he won't be in the playoffs. His last game will be Thanksgiving night, and the rule change to start to January the 5th. And I'm going to tell you, he'll have a month in December if he makes a move to do all his organization and hit that portal at hard. Because if he goes to Florida, he's got to re-recruit whatever's down there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've already looked through that thing up front because I'm sitting in the middle of Ole Miss fans over here. And the Ole Miss has got him financially as high as they can go. He's 8.5. He makes $8.5 million base, and he's got a possibility of getting it 9 with bonuses. But he's got to have, he's got to win 9 or 10 ball games to get those. So I think there's a lot of play that goes on other than what you see on the football field.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else. Is Auburn able to recruit a quarterback that's? And I know I don't even know. You probably don't know who recruited Milroe. I have a feeling they were over there seeing somebody else and saw Milroe. I think that from Coach Saban's deal, but I'm not sure. But everything now, this day and time in the SEC is built around the quarterback. And now you got
no doubt.
You got guys like Ryan Williams. Sure, I understand that. Everybody doesn't have that, but I think it's built around the quarterback. And my question is, they need to recognize that and pay whatever they have to pay. If Auburn need to pay, if Auburn need to get Jimmy Rain to give whatever he wants to give to get a quarterback, they got to do that.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that, Coach. And that's why I say, from everything I'd heard, he had a chance to pick up one of those two kids that was bypassed. I don't know whether that he maybe offered and they didn't want to. The kids didn't see enough possibilities at Auburn for the next year or two, or what. But that's the first. He tried. He tried the other guy, the Edwards kid, I believe, last week, and that didn't work out. So he went back to the guy that played number one for him. And of course, he ended up throwing a pick toward the end of the ball game, and that cost him the game. Now, I don't say completely cost him the game because, but they played physical. I mean, if you watch them play, but they don't. I consider some communication problem. I don't know what that. I don't know how to define that, other than it's communication during the week. In practice, they don't have enough finesse on what their game plan is when they get to a game, or the guys that they got there are not absorbing Coach Freeze's offense or defense, or whatever. There's some miscommunication somewhere in that if you watch them, because sometimes they have a substitution problem. They don't get the right guys in at the right time. It's just little bitty things that can cost them a play or two, or sometimes a touchdown, and they can't respond quick enough to it. But it all starts with a quarterback. I don't think there's any doubt about that. How they correct that, I don't know that they can this year. But he better be looking for somebody for the next 2 or 3 years where he has to go, go back to the portal, or if he's got to go to an outstanding high school kid or whatever, he's got to go find one that can come in and play.
Another big game this weekend, ABC 6:30, Tennessee, who's pretty much steamrolled everybody. The Oklahoma win was good. They got to go to Arkansas. Bobby Petrino will be ready. That's a tricky game there. The line is 14 in that game. You give Arkansas a chance to knock off Tennessee this weekend?
I don't think Arkansas has got quite enough depth. Bobby Petrino's saved up his job up to now. Of course, I thought they played A&M pretty tight, but they had to go out there to do that. But I think Arkansas is just good enough to stay in the ball game. But whether they got enough talent to run with Tennessee, I don't know. Historically, if Tennessee's defense had been like it is, I'd say you're absolutely right. I think Petrino's offense could work. But that front four for Tennessee, guys, is about as good as it is in the league. And they've improved in that position. I don't know where Arkansas can play 60 minutes with them or not. I think they can play maybe the first half, but I think if they have to leave their woods and have the whole ball game and run with that bunch from Tennessee, I think Tennessee comes out a winner.
For Alabama, perfect schedule for them. The emotional win like that takes a lot of energy out of you, but they go to Vanderbilt. So they can go up to Vanderbilt, honestly, and not play their A game and still win. 24-point favorite there. You probably would think the line would be more. Now Vanderbilt's a pretty solid team. Played Missouri But what do you do? And Coach DeBoer has a different system. You know, he practices on Sunday, Coach, and then he gives them Monday off. Now, I don't know what in the world they could have done at practice yesterday other than maybe walk through and look at some film, and they take Mondays off. But what do you do as a coach to kind of get these guys back focused and put that Georgia game behind them?
I think they play a lot of kids. I think they play a lot of 2s and 3s. They'll start the Woods, obviously, and I think they'll start substituting probably into the first quarter and give the Woods a break. You're right. I don't know how much, after the emotional game they had, how much hard work they'll have to do this week anyway. I think they'll do a lot of walkthroughs because, guys, the emotion, and you know that, but with the emotion that was in that game plus the physicality of the game itself, some of his legs are going to be still wobbly today. I promise you that. They need Monday home. But the fact is getting ready for Vanderbilt, you're right, the schedule played exceptionally well in their favor. And I think the way they combat that is that, you know, they play 40 or 50 guys in this ball game. And they do a regular substitution. Keeping your ones fresh, if just in case Vanderbilt makes it close, then they can put those guys back in the third and fourth quarter. But you start letting those young kids play this, the end of the first and second quarter.
There's not any doubt in my mind. It's a mental game. Mentally, you got to be ready to play. That ain't easy.
No, not in this game. And I think he realized what the Alabama job was, but I think probably even Coach DeBoer, he was looking around everything going on in that stadium on Saturday night. You got the former president in there, you got stars in there. I mean, it was unbelievable. The popularity of Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Williams just went out the roof. And these guys won't be able to go anywhere, Max. Their life just changed big time, right?
Absolutely. But you know what, guys, they earned it. I mean, let's be real. You know, when you put yourself on the big stage and you perform, then that's what it's all about. So hats off to them. Now, let's see how they, the proof is how they handle that, going forward. If they can put that game behind them, accept it for what it is, and, get ready to, come out and win the rest of them and end up playing for the national championship, I think everybody will look back and say, hey, no doubt, the right guy, right time. He's made all the correct moves, and I don't think there's any doubt about up to now. But let's sit back now and let's see how he handles the Vanderbilt game. And then, of course, let's look at the schedule week by week without trying to jump too far ahead with him.
Probably the most difficult thing now to deal with that we never had to deal with is whoever's Ryan Williams' agent. Can you imagine the opportunities that he has right now to go make some money? And so they're probably put you're only hot so long, pushing at him, and he's and the coaching staff's got to try to keep him grounded a little bit, and he can go sign this, that, and the other. Those are things behind the scenes that got to be tough to deal with. But the kids' popularity and earning potential now is crazy, isn't it, Max?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I even heard one of the Senior Bowl, some of the Senior Bowl people was at the ball game, and I've gotten out flipping around watching some interviews. And the guys at the Senior Bowl said he'll be the first 19-year-old ever playing the Senior Bowl. So they've already projected him out, 2 years down the road after this. So, but yeah, without a doubt. But how many times do we talk about the player, a generational player that comes along, or a generational coach that comes along? And without a doubt, this is happened to be. And I don't know about his personality. I've just other than what we hear, but on the field, the guy plays like a 4-year senior. I mean, the moves he makes and the confidence he has in his own ability, and he's, like you say, he's still just 17 years old, and the sky's the limit with. If he didn't get hurt, no telling where he could go.
Dad and Max, Jalen Milroe, he's a redshirt junior. So he could come back. Is there any way where you could, I don't know how high he's going to be drafted. I'm sure he's a first-round pick. Is there a scenario where you'll see a guy like that could make more staying in college than going to the NFL?
Well, keep in mind this: he's already got his BS. He's working on his master's degree now. So academically, what else could he do after this year? Go get another degree, start another program. I know where you're going with it. That's normally that would be the case.
Yeah.
But this guy's so different because he's got his academics lined up with his eligibility.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I got a buddy.
Is there a thought, Barry, that because the quarterback that was number one didn't play very well in the NFL, you're saying you got to watch Alabama's quarterback a lot?
Nah, you got Jalen Hurts, who's played well. You got, I guess, I don't know, Mac Jones. I don't know how, Tua played well until he got hurt. So there's enough of the guys that played good, I think that.
You named one.
Well, I think Tua's played pretty well.
Well, on top of that, though, guys, but he's a different kind of guy. He's 6'2", 6'3", 230 pounds. He can run, so the injury factor is not like Bryce or Tua that came through that's a little more frail built. And another thing too, that I was listening to this on another interview the other night with him, that as well as he runs from a quarter, the NFL doesn't look at that. The NFL looks at what he can do in the pocket, and of course he passes all of the qualifications there, and he passes all the academic qualifications. He's learned the playbook. That's very obvious. So I think that's those reasons. I think his size and his physical ability makes him durable as a quarterback in the NFL, and I think that's going to play a big role in where he's drafted.
Yeah, if you go to the NFL and you get first round, you got 4 or 5 year contract. You come back to Alabama, that's a 1 year deal. So I'm sure you have to look at it and see what's best for you when it all said and done. I know Ty Simpson probably hopes he's moving on, so his time will come.
Just sitting there, he made a bad mistake.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, Max, tell everybody what you cooking up this weekend. Anybody getting together watching that Ole Miss South Carolina game?
Well, yeah, we got a bunch of Ole Miss fans over here, but they after the defeat with Kentucky this past weekend, they're going fishing and hunting, I believe. But we'll get our group together. They'll probably do steaks this weekend. We just kind of done wild game the last couple of weekends, but we'll do steaks and all the trimmings that the women like more than the guys do. They'll eat their big steak. We'll have a big homemade bread. We got one couple now that love to bring the homemade bread. And we'll do that. Then of course, I think they're going to be an array of desserts. They've kind of the ladies now have kind of gotten into different types of cheesecakes. We did a blueberry, a strawberry, and then of course toward the end of the season, everybody's going to have a cold watermelon sitting on the side and homemade ice cream. So it'll be a big roast. The river's been good over here. The weather turned out a little cool this past weekend. So if this next storm coming up doesn't interfere, we had a lot of rain for this the one that capped this past weekend. But I just hope this next one either goes. I'd hate to see it go, but if it go completely west and turn into Mexico, that'd help us in this part of the country.
No doubt. Thank you, Max. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you. Always my pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, Josh from Northport sends in on the app. He thinks the Braves would be better off to put the Mets out today. They are playing way better than the Diamondbacks. You do not want the Mets in the playoffs. They are a division rival. So today, if they split, then the Braves and the Mets make it. And I looked it up. It's both of them have to go on the road. The wild card series is 2 out of 3, and you have to go to the higher seeds home and play all 3 games. And then they'll start the Phillies. All those guys will have byes until Saturday, so they got to get these things done. So the Braves will go on the road tomorrow if they win today. So thank you, Josh, for that. Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern brought you this 7 o'clock hour. Always remember, guys, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Phone lines are open, 205-342-9904. Joe was on, and Joe went away, so call us back, Joe. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM. WTBC is the home of Alabama sports.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, we're going to do our Daniel Moore good moments of the game. Hopefully those are great moments as we recap Alabama-Georgia. We'll do it with Drew DeArmond, Martin Houston, Barrett Sallee, all starting at 2 p.m. on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We've got some foggy areas, and one of them is on 2059, both east and westbound at Skyland Boulevard. That is going to create somewhat or some low visibility, so watch out for that. Also moving on 69, we got some slow traffic starting to really take formation in the southbound.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental-car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
We're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
Checking Sunday's action from Week 4 in the NFL. The Chiefs beat the Chargers in L.A. 17-10. Kansas City's off to a 4-0 start. The Vikings are a surprising 4-0 after beating the Packers and quarterback Jordan Love in Green Bay 31-29. Sunday night it was the Ravens over the Bills 35-10. First loss of the year for Buffalo. Steelers suffer their first loss with a 27-24 defeat in Indianapolis against the Colts. Falcons on a last-second field goal edge the Saints 26-24. Commanders all over the Cardinals in Arizona 42-14. Buccaneers handled the Eagles 33-16. It was the 49ers over the Patriots 30-13. Broncos edged the Jets on the road 10-9. New York missed the field goal in the final seconds that would have won it. Raiders over the Browns 20-16.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. I want to thank Andrew Kniffer. He's my Allstate insurance agent. Let him become yours out at 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Don't just pay the bill. Know exactly what you're paying. If you need home, life, auto, whatever you need, give he and the staff a call. 205-722-9201. Andrew Kniffer, Allstate Insurance. Number 2, Xavier Brown. Of course, Brian Williams and Brown. I guess when you sell the jerseys, I guess you have to put the name on the back to know which number 2 they're buying. They may want, I guess they're both popular now, those jerseys. But he's from Santa Ana, California. It looks like he went to maybe the same high school as Bryce Young, but was a big-time recruit out of high school. So both freshmen made humongous plays at the end of that game. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Joe in. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Hey, if I tell you it's raining, don't look out the window. Did you listen to Kirby's SEC interview after the game on the SEC Network?
I did not. What did he say?
I would imagine it was good.
It was. It was very good. He said that Milroe was not only the best quarterback in the SEC, he is the best running back in the SEC. And then they asked him about when Milroe scored there in his first half when he got around the edge, and he said, I had my most athletic and best defender on him. And you saw what he did to him when he got outside.
Yeah.
It was over. It was over. And they also asked him about 1-6. And he said, don't forget, 2 of them were here. But somebody should have said, well, 5 of them was in your backyard.
Well, backyard, there's a difference in backyard. Backyard doesn't mean they were at home.
Well, I did see that answer. And he also said, what's the other team's record that have played them 6 times? So,
But guys, here's what really bothered me. We had 4 opportunities, 4 fourth down plays. They converted. All we had to do was stop one of those, and we would have beat them 2 touchdowns easily, playing the way we were playing the second half. But we didn't do it. And another thing I saw, we didn't, to go with that, we didn't put enough pressure on them, period. And I'm worried about our field goal kicker. I'm afraid the stage is too big for him. He's coming from Miami of Ohio, and that's like kicking in practice at their games because of the attendance. You know it. And he won the Lou Groza. He beat our guy. I know he did that. But did you notice that field goal? He got in.
It was about an inch from hitting the upright.
You got it. You got it. So
each field goal takes on its own deal with wind. You can't.
You also got to give him a little credit, Cowboy, on that timeout, on that play when they came after Carson Beck, and he just had to launch it, and they got a safety out of it. Pretty gutsy play there, and Alabama's linebacker speed coming after him there was they were shot out of a cannon.
Well, Barry, why didn't we keep doing it the rest of the game? Why? And give Kirby credit. He picked on our freshman cornerback. He picked on him. That's where he should have went, and he did. That's what he did. And we was not putting any pressure on Beck. But let me tell you something. If Auburn will put pressure on Georgia this week, it wouldn't surprise me at all. It would not surprise me at all. That 35 and 15 on the edges at Auburn, they're tough, big football players that's a lot of speed. And it wouldn't surprise me, guys. I don't know about y'all. I don't know what the line is. I don't care. I'm not gambling. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if we're going to see the real Georgia this weekend.
The line is 23.5.
Ooh, that's a lot of points for Kirby to cover.
Yeah.
A lot of points. And I know I finally saw Ole Miss play, and I know what's wrong with them. It's Judkins in Columbus, Ohio, playing for Ohio State. He does not have a running back. Did you watch any of that, Barry?
I watched a little bit of it, off and on. I watched
notice
the end
when 21 had to come out of the game, Barry? Did you notice who he put in?
Who was that?
Little Zero.
Who's that?
And that guy, he's tiny. If that's his second best running back, he's going to have some problems this year. And Judkins bailed him out so many times last year, it wasn't even funny. So I'm kind of like Max. I had them at 11-1, but I don't think they're going to make it right now. Ain't no way.
What they going to be?
Oh, they'll lose 3 games at least now.
Yeah. I hope you're
if
right.
Not, yeah. They will. Oh, I heard about you getting your yard done for free with that guy. Yeah, I heard.
He's nervous. He's nervous right now. So, and I got to back off of him a little bit, but he's real nervous right now. He was
you're
mad.
giving him some free advertisement.
Yeah, and he was mad at Max for saying they were going to be 8-4. He's mad now. Right now.
Well, Wimp looking good with Texas, isn't he?
Well, Texas kind of didn't get going. They Mississippi State beat the line, of course, because like I said, they'd score. Texas. I think Georgia got a bad deal with the schedule. I think playing Alabama.
They did, but they've had gifts the last several years with the schedule.
Well, they're not going by the last several years; they're going by this year.
Well, I'm saying they're finally having to play a.
This is the 12-team playoff year, Barry.
Yeah, so that'd be the best year to have a tougher schedule.
So we go back and criticize my question by saying in the past they did. That's a bunch of baloney.
Well, being a 12-team playoff works to their advantage with this schedule.
This schedule they have.
Yeah, it works to their advantage. If it was 4 teams, they wouldn't get in, but they got a chance. They can lose a couple and still get in.
It's going to be hard.
Wimp,
they got to go
is...
to Texas. They got Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wimp, how many years they've been playing that East with Wimp, with Florida, and Tennessee down? And nobody else in Kentucky.
I think that's a bunch of baloney. That's just one game. That's a baloney.
Oh, yeah. His record against Wimp.
I don't give a crap if you play Little Sisters of the Poor and you win 41 games in a row. Don't tell me that ain't pretty good.
That's great. That's great.
Well, we'll see how the season plays out, but you're looking good on Texas. But let me ask you this, Wimp. Is Ohio State the number 1 team in the country?
I think they've got the material. I'm not sure they're playing that way.
They don't play anybody, Joe. They play nobody.
The league's not very good.
You talk about playing nobody. They play nobody.
I see that. Well, I'm just saying. That's what I mean. What's to stop them?
Yeah.
Well, how many teams Joe's going to get in the final 12 from the SEC?
5, 4.
Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and who? Tennessee?
Ole Miss.
Yeah. You said it wrong. You don't start with Georgia anymore.
Well, I mean,
Georgia would be the 4th team in.
If there's one of them in there, then they're in there.
Yeah. But you start off with Texas, and then probably Tennessee, and then Alabama, and then Georgia. Look, this game could be the worst thing that could have happened to both these 2 teams. We'll find out.
Why is that?
Overhyped. That's all I'm saying. It's just everything about it. Paul Feinbaum said it was the best SEC game in 40 years. Gosh.
No. Good. Nice to talk to you.
I mean, it was a pretty good game. I don't know how you rank them.
The best game in 40 years, Barry. The best game in 40 years.
I mean, that's all
and everybody knows that the loser of this game can still get in the playoffs.
I mean, if you were Kirby and you scored at the end, would you go for 2?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't the best team, Barry. He had to.
I'll be curious I don't know if anybody asked him in the press conference, but all right, Joe, we got to get to Doug. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
All right, we'll get to Doug Bell here. We'll talk a little Preston's coming. We'll look at Doug's picks as well. I already peeked at them this morning. You just Tide 100.9, 1230 AM, WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Now we've got the volume starting to hit. Your rush to work just got a little heavier on 43 in the southbound lanes to McFarland Boulevard. Red line takes you back to Flatwoods Road. Pretty much the usual. And McFarland's also starting to get a lot heavier, mostly eastbound onto Lurleen.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Remember M for money and Mezrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
Crimson Tide Today is presented on Tide 100.9, WTBC 1230 by BMW of Tuscaloosa. Online at bmwoftuscaloosa.com.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's daily update on Bama sports and it's brought to you by CB&S Bank. Bank anywhere, at any time with CB&S Bank's digital solutions. Managing your finances has never been so easy. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Alabama improved to 4-0 on the season with a win in the SEC opener against Georgia on Saturday. Here are our post-game thoughts from head coach Kalen DeBoer.
Heck of a game. Lost my voice a little bit there, obviously. A lot happening there all game long. So a lot of energy that was put out there by coaches and players, and proud of the way, we played. It took 4 quarters. And obviously, there's some times where they made a run there, and the second half in particular. But, just proud of the way our guys kept fighting, kept playing. I think we continued to learn every single play and grow. And you see that at the end with ZB's, interception. Guys saw it a couple times, them throwing the ball up in the air and really just laying it up there, maybe even sometimes underthrowing it.
I'll have more in a moment.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations. You could say we know a thing or two about tradition. We've been family, community, and financially strong since we began in 1906. Being a team player is part of our culture. That's why at CB&S Bank, we're proud to sponsor the University of Alabama Athletics and prouder to take the field or court with you. Visit cbsbank.com today. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Join us tonight for Crimson Tide Rewind, presented by the Alabama Department of Public Health at 6 p.m. Central at Baumhower's Victory Grill in Vestavia Hills. Crimson Tide Rewind is available to listen to across our radio network, the Varsity Network app, and catch the video replay as well on Tuesday on the CTSN YouTube page. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by CB&S Bank. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Toyota, go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. You'll get the new inventory, the pre-owned inventory. You can schedule the service. You need to rent a Toyota. You're going up to Nashville for the weekend for the Alabama Vanderbilt game. You can rent that Toyota right there at the website, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Or swing by Skyland Boulevard. See Justin, see David. They'll take great care of you, and tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. All right, get to the Tuscaloosa Toyota hotline. He's with PGA Tour Radio. PGA Tour Live, CBS Sports Headquarters, joins us every Monday, the one, the only Doug Bell. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Hey, Doug. Hey, Barry. Hey, Coach. I'm in the Trudeau International Airport in Montreal, Quebec. First time I've come to the show from Montreal, Quebec. This is a momentous occasion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Before we get to football, after the first 2 rounds, they're tied. Basically, one great day for the U.S. and the next day, Internationals took over. But down the stretch, these guys, Xander made 4 birdies, and down the stretch talk about that, and because it was close, one hole every cotton picking group, heck of a win for them.
Yeah, it was a good win and exciting. I'd never been to a President's Cup, and after Thursday, when the international team, lost all 5 matches, there appeared to be no excitement at the golf course, and it was kind of dull. But then Friday, when they rebounded, went from 0-5 to 5-0, it got exciting. And then this weekend, the weather was fabulous. The crowds were enormous. And it's funny, it's kind of one of these manufactured events, and the crowd was really partisan towards the international team, which was really cool because you don't have a lot in golf. But I'll say this, Coach and Barry, listen, you guys have been coaches for a long time, and these golfers, 99% of them, didn't play team sports growing up. They just played golf, right? And so when the 12 guys on this team get together and they're part of a team, they really get into it. Oh, it's different, and they love it, and there's pressure, and they don't want to let down their teammates. Just like if you coach in a basketball team, you want to do what's right for the team. So that's the cool aspect of it. And Keegan Bradley, coach, he hit the clinching putt, right, which put the United States over the top. And here's a guy who hadn't played in international competition for 10 years, was named the Ryder Cup captain, but was on this team unexpectedly. And he said, which kind of tells you everything, he goes, if that's the last putt I ever hit in golf, if somebody said you have to retire now, he said, I'll be happy, because he got to play in another international competition. And to me, I said, wow, that said it all.
Well, to me, he could be a playing captain in the Ryder Cup. He's got a lot of grit about him, and he's tough, and he's gotten to where he's gotten, but by his good play, and the good play hasn't always been there, but it's really come forward.
Yeah, and listen, a good guy, right? Won a major championship as a rookie, and 2 years ago won the Travelers, which is where he grew up in Connecticut. So he's accomplished some things. But again, he just wanted to be back on a team. And the good thing is, listen, the Ryder Cup will be next year at Bethpage Black in New York City, and it'll be partisan and crazy. And remember, this is a team that won this weekend without Justin Thomas, without Jordan Spieth, for the first time in a long time. And to think those guys may be back on the Ryder Cup team, maybe. I mean, the United States has a pretty solid team here going forward for the next couple of years.
Let's talk about Scheffler. He hasn't had a good record in these deals. He did win some points, didn't win the individual yesterday, but why is he not as successful maybe in these events as he is when it's just relying on him?
Barry, great question, and I harken back to Tiger, who played in all these things when he was healthy, right? And he never was like over-the-top dominant. And people say, well, it's depending who he was teamed with, et cetera. The great ones, and Scotty is certainly that number one player in the world. I think he puts such an emphasis on the individual tournaments, the major championships. I think mentally he has a little bit of a letdown coming into an event like this, and I think it's a mental thing, and he just wasn't sharp. And of course, he played a lot of big events, guys, and he's going to be the player of the year. And when you win 7 times and the gold medal, et cetera. I think you can't help but have a little bit of a mental drop in something like this. And just like Tiger, when you go against Scotty Scheffler, whether it's a team, a pairing deal, best ball or alternate shot, or yesterday Hideki went against him in the singles, you get fired up. I mean, it's just like in team sports, right? Yeah. When you play the number one team, you want to beat them, and you're going to give it extra. And I think that's what happens in these deals for a guy like Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Where do we go next?
Sanderson Farms.
Golf. Yep, Sanderson Farms, Jackson, Mississippi. I'll be over there for that one, and that's at the Country Club of Jackson. And that's a tournament where a guy like Trey Mullinax is going to get to play after missing last year with that terrible hip injury, and some other guys. Patton Kizzire will be back after he won in Napa. So it's that kind of tournament. And again, the winner gets $1 million, and you get a chance to move inside the top 125 and secure your playing privileges for next year. So if you're a PGA Tour player or a fan like I am, or work the tour, these are big events, and that's always a nice event over in Jackson too. Good people over there, Great club, the Country Club of Jackson. And I love going over there. And I guess because I can get to drive over and drive back, it's one of my favorite tournaments every year on the PGA Tour.
Do we know who all's in the field, Doug?
Well, it's
who's not in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, Patton Kizzire will be there. Trey Mullinax will be there. People of that. And listen, these guys are good players, and you have a guy like Zach Johnson, two-time major champion. He'll get an opportunity to play. And I say get the opportunity. He's earned that right to play and try to work his way back in the top 125. So, again, there will be a mixture of guys who have had some really good careers and maybe have fallen off the last few years, and then a lot of young guys that are trying to work their way into that top 125. And, some Korn Ferry players, too, getting an opportunity to play for the first time in the PGA Tour. So, listen, if you love golf, you go over there and you go, I know that guy. Oh, wow, that's kind of cool. And that's the kind of tournament it is. And it'll be on the Golf Channel. But, again, these fall events get gobbled up when everybody's eyeballs are on college football on Saturday and the NFL on Sunday.
But no Nick Dunlap, right? He's still taking a break.
Well, I need to check because I thought this might be a good opportunity for Nick just to play and to stay sharp. And I have not checked the list. I was I was consumed with the President's Cup, but that's a good question, Barry. When I get off, I'm going to check because I think if I was Nick, you've been off since the second round of the playoffs, and I would think, and listen, even though you have secured your playing privileges for next year, which he has, and he'll be in all the signature events, he can still play in these events. These are not. Anybody can play, and I think that would be a good move for him. So I'm going to check that when we get off.
All right, just your thoughts about what happened here in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night.
Well, it's funny. I got off from the President's Cup and was hustling back to the hotel, and the kickoff was delayed, which was great. So I never missed anything. And guys, the funny thing is I was going through customs this morning. I'm wearing an Alabama football shirt, and the customs agent, he looks up at me and he goes, wow, that was a heck of a game on Saturday night. And this is a Canadian guy at the customs, which I got a big kick out of. And so obviously he let me through without a problem, right? Yeah. But it was terribly exciting. One of the best games you'll ever see. And the fact, with the pomp and circumstance and President Trump there and the way it unfolded, I knew after the 28-0 start, and then Georgia cuts into it at halftime, I said, oh, my goodness. I could see things, the momentum shifting, which it did drastically. And I knew the quarterback for Georgia was going to get better. He made some key mistakes. And at the end, he was just trying to win it. Made that throw in the corner of the end zone, and the Alabama kid made an incredible play. So I think what we're going to see, guys, is Alabama and Georgia meeting potentially for a second and third time this year. So it'll be – and listen, that was just incredible television. And I went back and replayed it, and I saw all the clips from game day. That was phenomenal. And there's not going to be many games, guys, like that where you have that many athletes, that many 4- and 5-star kids all in the field at the same time. It was a great spectacle. I was excited till the very end.
Is there any connection between John Daly and Donald Trump? He was going in the stadium with it. Was in his box.
I'm voting for Trump.
In his box.
I don't know. I saw the box. Hank Williams Jr. and John Daly and Tommy Tuberville was in the box. My goodness.
Kid Rock was in there. Kid Rock was
in the box. It's quite the entourage for President Trump. I tell you what, he travels in some fun circles. I'd like to be in that entourage just to kind of hang out and hear the conversation. Yeah. But that was fun. Again, guys, we'll look back at that years from now. Not only the game itself, but the spectacle that surrounded it with game day, and Miss Terry was on the set with Coach Saban, and Coach Saban again had some one-liners that were incredible that nobody else ever says. So it was just very, very memorable, to say the least. Yeah, especially at this stage of the season. It's so early in the season, right?
Yeah, game day is going to Cal this weekend. Now, what a difference. You go from Alabama, Georgia the Cal. I don't know. I got to look to see who Cal's even play. Is it Miami? Who are they playing this weekend?
Well, I mean, I guess. And what are they going to go eat sushi and quiche and stuff like that?
Miami came close to losing.
That's a long flight for Coach Saban to have to go out to Cal. They're playing Miami this weekend. So.
Yeah, and Miami escaped on Friday night against Virginia Tech. But
how about that call, Doug?
Sure did.
Yeah.
How about that call?
Yeah, that was something. And that potentially saved Miami's season in some capacity, if you think about it.
Why did Virginia Tech try a fake field goal down there when they were up 27-17?
I don't know. Sometimes, it's a chess match, right? And it's great when these great coaches, plot against each other, but sometimes coaches outsmart themselves, and I think it fell in that category.
I mean, that was a chip shot. It was a chip shot.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was watching that on Friday night, and I almost fell out of my chair. But again, I'm just a spectator, but it's great to be an armchair quarterback. That's for sure.
All right, Doug. We're going to look back at your picks. You did a little better this week. I'm proud of you. All right, Chase. We had Clemson taking on Stanford. The line was 21.5. I don't know what the score ended up, but Clemson easily covered that 21.5. Yep. So give Doug, ring him up a little victory for that one. We had Alabama taking on Georgia. He got points, didn't even need them. Alabama knocks off Georgia, so give Doug a little applause there. And then Texas. Texas minus 38.5 against Mississippi State. Mississippi State played them a little bit closer than he thought, so that would be a loss for Doug there. They did not cover that. But that runs the record, Doug. It's getting close. 6-9 for the year. 6-9 for the year. So,
what am I now, Barry, with my loss? 1-4?
1-4. Dad had a tough break. He picked Boston College, and then Friday night late, also Boston College quarterbacks out, and the line went from 13-8. And then I guess Boston College was lucky to win. They won by 1 point there, Doug.
They were lucky to win.
Yeah. So, Doug, not a ton of great games this week. Clemson and Florida State. You would think that would be a big game, but Florida State's struggling. Where are you going this week, Doug?
Well, and again, guys, just tell you every week, teams to bet on against the spread. Marshall 4-0, Pitt 4-0, BYU 5-0, Tennessee 4-0, and bottom of the barrel, Wisconsin 0-4, Kansas 0-5, NC State 0-4-1, all against the spread. Just keep that in mind. And at the beginning of the year, guys, I said, hey, if you bet every week on Bama, Ohio State, and Georgia, how would you do, right? Well, up to this point, Alabama 3-1, Ohio State 2-2, Georgia 1-3, so you'd be 6-6. Yeah. If you just did that little experiment. But anyway, that's not here nor there.
Can't make any money.
6-6 is a loss, Doug. No. You know that.
Indiana, 13-point favorite at Northwestern. Undefeated, 5-0. Kurt Cignetti, former Coach Saban assistant at Alabama, did a great job at James Madison, doing a great job at Indiana. Last week, Indiana against Maryland, 510 total yards. Northwestern managed just over 100 total yards against Washington. Go with the Hoosiers to cover the spread. Go 6-0.
All right, so take Indiana minus a 13.5, Chase. All right, there.
Yeah.
At Northwestern, Big Ten Network, 2:30. There you go. All right, Doug, that's a boring game. All right, next game. Go ahead.
But it's a win.
Okay.
All right, Missouri at Texas A&M, and listen, guys, Las Vegas. They made it Texas A&M a 1.5-point favorite. Vegas does not like Missouri. Big road game for Mizzou, obviously. Texas A&M, not sure who their quarterback's going to be, either Connor Wigman or Marcus Reed, who is pretty talented young quarterback.
A&M alone.
I like A&M at home to beat Missouri. Basically, it's head-to-head 1.5 points.
It's -1 right now.
Take A&M at home.
All right,
Winner.
-1. Take A&M -1. At Kyle Field in College Station against Missouri, who is undefeated. A&M's quietly, though, 4-1. It should have really beaten Notre Dame, to be quite honest with you. All right, last game, Doug.
Lastly, to go 3-0, 9-9 on the year on the big show here. Tennessee 13.5 at Arkansas.
14.
I like
It's
Tennessee,
14
guys.
now. It's 14. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people like Tennessee, and so do I. Volunteers go on the road. Arkansas has been close lately, but they're getting beat up playing these tough games. take Tennessee to steamroll the Hogs this weekend.
All right, Tennessee minus 14 at Razorback Stadium against Bobby Petrino, the offense coordinator. So, all right, Doug, if you hit those, you'd be 500. You just lose the juice. That's it. So, it's worth the
I love it. Love it, boys.
Have a safe trip back, my man. We look forward to talking to you next Monday.
Talk to you next week.
Tell them about MD Wellness and Aesthetics before you go.
Yeah, 205-582-9216, MDWellnessandAesthetics.com for all your skincare, hair care, weight loss. Give them a call. Susan will answer. Again, 205-582-9216.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks,
Doug. All right, fellas. See you next week. Bye.
All right, Dad. Let's tell them about Bryant Bank before we get to break.
Well, the bank locations are 4 in Tuscaloosa, where a lot of our listeners are, but outside Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, bank locations are very accessible. The people in the bank will be very, very helpful, not only the banker, but you go to a nice bank and they'll take care of your money. They'll be darn sure that your money stays where you need it to stay. If you need to negotiate some deals involving money, and sometimes you do, they will do that for you. There'll be online banking around the clock. They'll do everything they can for the community to try to help them. I think it's a great place to go. It's a bank that all of you probably listen to our show know and appreciate. So go by Bryant Bank, visit with them, tell them you heard them inside the locker room, and become a member of Bryant Bank, and I think you'll be satisfied.
Yeah, it'll be an absolute great move. All right, we'll take a break here. We got Cowboy holding. The Cowboy was in Tuscaloosa this weekend. You listen to Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC is the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, we got a little situation on 2059 east and westbound at Skyland Boulevard. It's called fog, so you do want to be aware of that and watch out for low visibility. Might want to drive with your high beams on. Also, Lurleen Wallace is on the slower.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Lady in Birmingham. Plus, don't miss our grand opening celebration Friday, October the 11th through Sunday, October 13th. And check us out at academy.com with free shipping on purchases over $25.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today. Just a chance of a few isolated showers this afternoon or this evening. The high today 81, the low tonight 63. For tomorrow and Wednesday, warm and dry, sunny both days. Highs between 83 and 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The best station in the state, breaking down Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
We'll go back to inside the locker room. All right, we'll get right up to the Yellowwood hotline. We'll get Cowboy in. Good morning, Cowboy.
Good morning.
Good morning, Barry and Coach. How you guys doing? Hey,
okay.
Barry, you called that caller Joe Cowboy a minute ago.
Did I?
Yeah, he called him Cowboy.
Oh, that's sorry. I don't know what that was stupid.
That's all right. I heard that. I said,
well, no, you were holding, and so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey, no big deal. No big deal. Well, heck of a football game. I kind of echo Joe's sentiments. Joe's pretty much on top of it. I like his call. They're pretty good. I would think the only concern for Alabama is if they can get in that ball game with a running back and run that and let the air out of it and run that thing out when they got a substantial lead. But me and some friends of mine had talking yesterday. I'm still in Birmingham today. I'm going back tonight. What has happened? Kalen DeBoer played Kirby Smart, Lanning, and Steve Sarkisian. He gets up on them big early. They adjust. They get back in the game, but he still beats them at the end. Go back and think about this. On all the games he's played against those guys now, he's gotten up early on them. He jumps them. And then he gets a good lead, and then they get back in the game, but they come so far. You know, I've seen in basketball, NBA, college, a team comes from 25, 28 points down, and then they, like Kentucky, like Georgia did Saturday, they tie or get ahead, but then the team that had the big lead that blew it still got enough time left, and somehow or another they muster to get a win out of it. And I'm trying to figure out how he gets on these guys so fast.
Those coaches hadn't played a play. The coaches hadn't played a play.
Yeah. I know. I understand that, but
well, I just think it shows you how good Georgia is. You know, they had their number, the emotion of the game. That they had a good game playing early. They scored. It's 28-0. But you're not going to keep beating those guys 20. I mean, you know those guys are good enough to come back. Carson Beck can play, and I think Alabama probably a little bit looked like maybe Georgia was maybe in a little better condition. It seemed like they played better in the fourth quarter. The guy made some unbelievable plays. These guys are going to come back. I mean, they're not playing.
Yeah, but you know,
if
we stop those, like Joe said, those plays where they had fourth down 3 or 4 times, and on a couple of them they got holding penalties on us to continue the drive. If we make a stop there, it's an easy. Like,
but don't you think a team that's won 42 straight games knows how to win?
Of course.
Oh yeah, they definitely know how to win.
Well, they're not just going to lay down and give you the game. They're going to keep fighting. And
but they made adjustments on Milroe in the second half where they took away some of his strength.
Yeah, I was just I thought they would cover Ryan Williams better than that. So maybe that kid's just that good. And his footwork when he catches it is unbelievable.
You know, they talk about Milroe for, Heisman Trophy. The best college football player I've seen this year is Ryan Williams. I mean, he's the best guy I've seen. Unbelievable catches and speed and. But you know that there's a lot of football left to play. Still got to go to Tennessee. Still got to go to LSU, and Georgia's got to go to Texas.
That's a huge win. If you can just not fall flat on your face, I think that win put Alabama in the playoff. Unless they just completely fall on their face. But when you beat a team like that, boy, that really helps your ranking. You go all the way to 1 now, so that in one poll, I guess 2 in the other. So that really helps you. So
yeah, the game now that's going to look like it's going to be a nightmare game. Who knows how they're going to do Oklahoma? But that game the week before Auburn, and who knows what the weather's like in Oklahoma that weekend. You never know. It could be sunny and nice or cold, rainy, whatever. That's going to be a harder trip than you think. But Oklahoma may be so beat up by then it won't be anything. Who knows?
A lot of things can happen between now and then, so I'm sure
they should have lost it. They should have lost it. They should have lost at Auburn. I was on the right logic and analytics having picked Auburn in that game, but
Auburn just finds ways to lose. So I didn't hear what Hugh Freeze said after the game. I don't think I probably want to. Thank you, Cowboy.
Yeah. All right, y'all be good.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, back to the Yellowwood hotline and get Tom in. Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Tom, you with us? Tom is gone. All right, back to the Yellowwood hotline. What's up, Digger?
Yo.
Hey, Dig.
Cowboy was on point. With everything he said, I'm going to have to agree with him. Now, keep this in mind. This is what you need to expect from Oklahoma from here on out. They will wreck your season if you're not careful. I promise you. They had no business winning that game Saturday, but they pulled it out their ASS. Okay? So I'm telling you, that's what you can expect. They'll find a way to wreck one season, one game, and you got to be on point with them. Now, got a problem with Joe.
Yuck.
And I got a problem with Philip. Calling Sarkisian a snake is out of line.
Yeah.
Okay. Isaiah Bond went into the portal. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he wanted to go where he could catch the ball. And guess what? We're using him to the full advantage. He had a great game Saturday. Okay, now Joe going in there saying that Milroe's the best quarterback in the SEC.
He said that was what Kirby said.
Right. Well, even Kirby. But he agreed. But you got to go look at Pro Football Focus. Number one quarterback in the nation is Arch Manning.
Huh?
Think about that.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we're not playing in the pros. We're playing in college right now.
That's crazy.
And
Pro Football Focus got him the number one rated quarterback in the nation.
He may end up being better in the future and maybe a better pro. Well, who knows? But right now, if you had to win a game, you're not going to play Arch Manning over Jalen Milroe.
No.
I mean, you might, but Jalen Milroe's right now.
If Arch Manning was at Texas A&M, you would not be saying that.
Wait a minute. Did I hear this?
Yeah.
You're saying if you had a choice between Milroe and Arch Manning, you're going to take Milroe?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
No way. No way. We'll see. I mean, look.
He was getting on that bandwagon. He threw interceptions the first time he played. Why are you on his bandwagon?
He's going to go to the bench now. They got by Mississippi State, and now he's going to the bench.
He's going to be drinking
Now,
Kool-Aid.
with that said, I've got to change my standing on this. You're going to have to put him in the game plan now. He's that effective. He was 26 of 31 for 330, and he was a drop pass from 400 yards.
They only got 35 on Mississippi State, who's absolutely. Did you see what Toledo did to Mississippi State?
I'm glad you brought that up because we left 21 points on the field, and guess what? I am taking Texas off of the betting line for the rest of the season, and I'll tell you why. We got to figure out this SEC officiating. It's completely different from the Big 12, man. I'm telling you. They were having a problem with the SEC officials. They said, well, wait a minute. Hold on. We got to figure this out. He needs to get a former SEC official in there during the bye, which is this week, and figure out what these calls are going to be because I'm telling you, we had play after play after play with a flag. They said, oh, we can't get the feel of the official.
Yeah, officiating's not great. Thank you, Digger. Digger, you're not taking not right now. Now, maybe in the future, you're not taking.
Just because he plays at Texas.
Arch Manning over Jalen Milroe now this season. All right, we'll take the break. We got Tom and Abe holding. We'll get to you guys. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, we got a little situation on 2059 east and westbound at Skyland Boulevard. It's called fog, so you do want to be aware of that and watch out for low visibility. Might want to drive with your high beams on. Also, Lurleen Wallace is on the...
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Did you say I just said that? Yeah, I'm cutting you off. Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn We Match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today. Just a chance of a few isolated showers this afternoon or this evening. The high today 81, the low tonight 63. For tomorrow and Wednesday, warm and dry, sunny both days. Highs between 83 and 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. We got about 3 or 4 minutes here. We got 2 callers. We'll go to Abe first. Good morning, Abe.
Hey, Barry. Thanks for taking my call. Well, Barry, I thought I had that pick with Auburn. I was sitting pretty, 21-10.
Yeah.
And then it all collapsed.
Yeah.
But I will make a baseball prediction today. I think that the Braves and Mets, I think they're going to split. I think Arizona's screwed with this.
Yeah.
The reason I say that, if you win the game, if you're the Mets or the Braves and you win game 1, you have no interest. You're ready to get out of there.
Do you sit your starters in game 2 then?
Yeah, I think you set you're playing your third string catcher. You know, you're pitching your last pitcher. You know what I'm saying? You're ready to get out there to the playoffs is what I'm thinking. But you know, that's just me. But I wanted to tell Coach I was studying next week's game, and an odd line to me is Texas A&M minus 1.5 or minus 2.
I'm scared of A&M. I've lost twice
Texas
with
A&M
them. I
minus 1.
lost the Notre Dame game and lost the Florida game with them.
Okay, I'm scared of them too because I think this guy they got, Reed, he's a quick-footed guy that can beat you. But here's the thing I'm saying is either the ranking is wrong or the line's wrong. You got the number 9 team in the country coming into unranked Texas A&M, and Texas A&M's favored by 1.5. How's that work?
Well, they don't go on that.
I'm going to stay away from A&M.
You had Georgia with the indicator of Georgia was favored, and Alabama on the ESPN indicator was like a 60-something% chance to win. So don't look at all that, Abe. That'll throw you off. So,
all right, you guys, yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. All right, back. We'll give Tom the last word to the Yellowwood Hotline. Hey, Tom is gone. So Tom's had a hard time this morning keeping up with us. So, anyway, Arch Manning will be on the bench the next time Texas runs out. So if he was that good, Digger, he would be starting, right, Dad? Arch Manning will be out.
He just hadn't proved. Digger's not right. He hadn't gotten on the field and proved.
He may be a better pro prospect, but we're not playing in the pros right now. We got college football season. So Jalen Milroe with those feet, he's a nightmare to try to defend. So just forget about that. All right, that's it for today's show. We'll get out of here and make way for the Gary Harris Show. Once again, I want to congratulate game day operations at the university with that many people in town. That whole thing, I don't know how it was getting in the stadium. I did walk around, saw all the Secret Service and all that, but the quad, everything was, they did a first-class job with everything there. And I know Herb Street talked a lot about how first-class everything was. So congratulations to you guys. We'll give you this weekend off. You listen to Todd 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great day, everybody.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.